Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, your trusted destination for clear and up-to-date information on the evolving value of Iraq's national currency and its role within the broader global exchange landscape. As of the current date, in the USA, recent patterns indicate a renewed surge of interest in the Iraqi dinar. Analysts and investors alike are closely watching regional shifts, especially in Erbil, where subtle changes in exchange rates are quietly fueling speculation about potential monetary movements on the horizon. During early Tuesday trading sessions, Erbil, the administrative capital of the Kurdistan region, saw a slight but noticeable strengthening of the Iraqi dinar against the US dollar. According to updated local market reports, the dinar's selling price settled at 141,250 IQD per $100, 0 cents, while the buying price stood at 250 IQD per $100, 0 cents. This marks a considerable improvement compared to last Thursday's figures, when the dinar sold at 265 IQD per $100, 0 cents, and bought at 255 IQD per $100, 0 cents. These shifts suggest that fewer dinars are now needed to obtain $100, 0 cents, indicating a rise in the dinar's relative value, albeit modest. While minor on the surface, this appreciation has not gone unnoticed among market experts. Natural fluctuations in exchange rates occur frequently, but a steady trend toward needing fewer dinars to acquire the same dollar amount can often reflect deeper economic undercurrents. It could imply improving public trust in the local currency, more effective financial controls, or possibly even the groundwork for significant monetary recalibration. Multiple elements might be influencing this latest uptick. Potential contributors include increased liquidity, subtle but strategic interventions by the Central Bank of Iraq, or early evidence of long-term monetary planning. For those embedded in the global currency space, these kinds of movements are rarely dismissed as coincidence. Many believe they could represent a deliberate lead-in to major policy developments, ranging from digital currency implementation to a restructured peg or a much-anticipated revaluation. This belief is commonly echoed throughout the dinar community. A growing number of experienced observers argue that these adjustments are part of a methodical blueprint rather than mere reactions to market forces. Even without any formal announcement from the Central Bank of Iraq regarding a revaluation or revised peg, the consistent tightening of exchange rates is widely regarded as a promising indicator of reform. From the perspective of longtime insiders, every minor shift contributes to a larger narrative. Some go as far as to suggest we are witnessing a quiet campaign to rebuild the dinar's legitimacy in global markets. If this is the case, then these early improvements may serve as stepping stones toward more transformative changes. As we expand the lens beyond Erbil, it's becoming evident that these trends aren't confined to just one city. Currency watchers are now tuning into how similar rate fluctuations unfold in other economic centers like Baghdad and Basra. Should these rate improvements appear across multiple regions in parallel, it may suggest that a unified policy or financial strategy is unfolding, possibly orchestrated behind closed doors by the central bank or related financial authorities. So far, the Central Bank of Iraq has maintained public silence regarding any impending revaluation. However, it remains the central point of focus for dinar watchers. For years, the CBI has been expected to roll out financial reforms aimed at modernizing Iraq's currency system. These reforms could include introducing a digital dinar, deploying more advanced monetary policy tools, and aligning Iraq's currency practices more closely with global standards. Gradual improvements in the exchange rate, even those as slight as 5 IQD per $100, 0 cents, serve as incremental proof that Iraq may be preparing for broader monetary evolution. Further supporting this idea are insights from well-known voices within the dinar-focused intel space. While they stop short of declaring a major shift is imminent, they argue that the regular, subtle moves we're seeing are likely not accidental. Instead, these fluctuations could be paving the way for bigger financial events. Each minor drop in the number of dinars needed to obtain $100.00 reinforces the notion that a quiet transformation is underway. Confidence, while still cautious, continues to rise. Many investors believe that although bold announcements have yet to surface, the underlying signals are beginning to line up. The repeated downward trend in rate values tells a consistent story that change, even if slow, moving, may be closer than many think. However, evaluating Iraq's monetary trajectory requires more than just watching the currency ticker. A holistic view also considers developments in sectors like oil, infrastructure, and foreign investment. These areas have recently shown signs of renewed international interest, which could serve to stabilize and support Iraq's economic backbone. Simultaneously, moves by the Iraqi government to reduce reliance on cash transactions and modernize banking processes further reinforce the idea that long-term currency strengthening is being pursued deliberately. As investors keep track of these developments, a few pivotal elements remain in sharp focus. Chief among them are any forthcoming updates from the central bank itself. Even subtle wording in CBI statements can trigger major reactions in the market. Then there's the parallel market, often less regulated but a crucial bellwether of real-time trends. Lastly, Iraq's regional and global partnerships remain a key backdrop, especially when considering how international alliances might bolster the dinar's standing. Although optimism is growing, seasoned analysts urge patience. Currency revaluations, particularly ones with the scale of change rumored for the IQD, demand a precise combination of internal reform, international cooperation, and market preparedness. Until those pieces fall fully into place, every modest gain is best viewed as a step toward that goal, not as a guarantee of immediate change. That said, every subtle increase in the dinar's value, like the recent move from 255 to 250 IQD per $100.00, is meaningful. In the world of finance, small numbers can carry heavy implications. It may suggest that demand for the dinar is increasing, that fiscal oversight is tightening, or that strategic positioning is underway. As this dynamic situation continues to evolve, it's essential for Iraqi dinar followers to remain both informed and measured in their expectations. Dramatic spikes in value may make for flashy headlines, but the real change often comes quietly through sustained progress, discipline, and reform. Continuing from where we left off, the steady changes in Iraq's currency dynamics are pointing to deeper strategic adjustments taking place behind the scenes. While many casual observers might overlook a 5 or 10 IQD difference in exchange rates, those tuned into monetary trends understand that these subtle movements often serve as early indicators of greater shifts. These signs, particularly when backed by institutional intent, help build a case for long-term appreciation and possible revaluation of the Iraqi dinar. One of the most discussed factors within the dinar community is the potential influence of international leadership, especially that of former President Trump, on Iraq's economic posture. While no formal statements have been made tying his policy legacy directly to the current dinar trajectory, speculation continues that diplomatic channels and past negotiations might still be influencing Iraq's current financial strategy. Under former President Trump's administration, the U.S. maintained a vested interest in Iraq's economic restructuring, which many believe laid the groundwork for what's now unfolding. These theories, while speculative, gained traction due to the timing of reforms and the strengthening of Iraq's regional alliances. In recent months, Iraq has engaged more actively with trade partners, increased oil production efficiency, and signaled openness to digital and modern banking solutions. Each of these developments enhances the dinar's potential stability and attractiveness, especially for foreign investors looking for long-term positioning in emerging markets. Looking beyond immediate market movements, there is also growing conversation around Iraq's broader monetary policy toolkit. The Central Bank of Iraq has been quietly upgrading internal frameworks, ranging from digitizing currency handling to enforcing stricter anti-corruption protocols. These foundational changes may seem unrelated to the dinar's market value, but they're instrumental in building investor confidence, reducing risk, and preparing the financial system for larger-scale adjustments, possibly including a revaluation in due time. Further evidence of preparation can be seen in how the government is managing the cash economy. For decades, Iraq has relied heavily on physical currency, which limited oversight and hindered transparency. But recent policy shifts suggest an accelerated push toward banking modernization. Increased access to digital platforms, tighter regulation of exchange offices, and improved coordination with global banking standards all suggest a nation preparing to integrate more deeply into the international financial network. Supporters of a near-future revaluation argue that the stage is finally being set. Though official figures have not drastically shifted overnight, the cumulative direction appears to be aligning with long-standing predictions that Iraq would slowly restore its currency's pre-war value once certain benchmarks were met. These include not only internal stability and anti-inflation measures, but also international acceptance and compliance with trade norms. This leads to the question many dinar holders are now asking: how soon could this all culminate in a revaluation? The honest answer remains uncertain. Experts emphasize that, while the trajectory looks positive, there is no confirmed timeline. The Central Bank of Iraq has been careful not to overpromise, and history has shown that premature speculation can often lead to disappointment. However, the frequency and consistency of small positive movements are encouraging and hard to ignore. There's also growing interest in how neighboring countries are responding. Iraq's strengthening currency could have ripple effects across regional trade corridors, prompting adjustments in pricing structures, tariffs, and foreign investment flows. In the longer term, a more valuable dinar could improve Iraq's purchasing power, increase export competitiveness, and solidify its standing as a serious economic actor in the Middle East. At the same time, observers caution that every advancement must be viewed through a lens of geopolitical reality. Iraq still faces challenges, both political and economic, that could delay or complicate the full realization of currency reform. Factors such as regional instability, administrative reshuffles, and shifts in oil prices can all affect the pace and direction of monetary progress. Still, in spite of these hurdles, confidence in the dinar seems to be inching upward. The disciplined actions by the central bank, combined with macro-level efforts to modernize infrastructure and expand international trade, provide a promising backdrop. Should this path continue, Iraq may well position itself to roll out one of the most impactful financial recalibrations in recent history. For now, those closely monitoring the situation should continue focusing on specific signs. Keep an eye on the CBI's public communications, especially those involving meetings with IMF officials or updates to banking laws. Watch for any indication that Iraq is testing new platforms for currency digitization or participating in regional financial forums. These developments may offer clearer signals than exchange rate shifts alone. It's also crucial to differentiate hype from credible analysis. While online speculation is rampant, particularly in forums and video channels dedicated to the dinar, not all sources are equally reliable. Be sure to follow reports backed by official data, market behavior, and verified institutional updates. Staying grounded in fact will help filter out noise and spotlight what really matters. In closing, Iraq's monetary journey is progressing at a deliberate pace. No fireworks have gone off just yet, but the consistent trajectory of stronger exchange rates, policy maturity, and institutional upgrades suggest a nation carefully preparing for financial recalibration. For dinar holders and watchers alike, this moment represents more than a waiting game. It's a time to stay informed, stay vigilant, and above all, stay patient. Here at Iraqi Dinar News, we'll continue tracking every critical move, offering timely insights, and helping you interpret what each change truly means. Whether you're a seasoned investor or simply curious about the future of Iraq's economy, remember, real reform takes time, but those who follow it closely are often the first to see the opportunity.